Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex. Grab your teaspoons and your open minds. It's episode number 360. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
I have a mouthful of water. I expected Glenn to jump in and fill that gap. He did not.
Well, I figured I'd let you start this week.
Oh, well, I'm good.
I'm good, too.
I'm actually very good.
I'm good, too. I just thought I'd copy Sean. Oh. No. That's why I let you go first.
Then I'm tired.
I know what to say. I'm good.
Rats.
I'm getting over from being sick.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What'd you have?
I came down with the stomach flu.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Wednesday night. Came home and wound up having a huge fever, and luckily the fever broke Saturday.
So you read all kinds of books and got all kinds of movies watched and caught up on your TV and...
Or did you just lay in bed and moan a lot?
I laid on the couch and moaned quite a bit. I did catch up on some TV. Arrow and Orville.
I'm making my happy face over here.
Rewatched An Adventure in Space and Time. Watched Creature from the Pit.
That's the most important one.
I took advantage of the time to
I
do
got
that.
your homework done.
But the main thing we did this weekend was The Crown Season 2 dropped on Friday. We are 7 episodes in.
Oh, wow.
7 of 10. And it is just as good as last season. It doesn't lose any steam at all.
I finished watching The Inhumans. Not as bad as everybody says it is. I thought it was okay. Low quality, kind of loses a little bit of lackluster, but I thought it was good. It was entertaining, let's put it that way. But it's not as bad as everybody says. And I am caught up to Runaways, which is Hulu's Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really good. And then I watched the first episode of Punisher today. So,
what'd you think of that? That's still the only episode I've watched.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, it made me want to keep watching. So
yeah.
I watched the first 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s 5th season.
Oh, I did that too.
Ah.
I went back and forth between, this is really great. I love the sci-fi word space. Yeah, we haven't done that yet. And, the kind of the very self-referential bits of it. And very frustrated that they hadn't figured it out sooner. But just, the whole, we're in space. When did they build their staging an invasion? It's like, did you see the planet? The water reclamation was listed ocean. Come on.
I didn't have any problem with that.
I didn't either. I enjoyed
I didn't
it
think
so
it was
much.
that long.
What else would we watch? We watched, got 1 episode left of Orville because it aired.
You've seen some films, haven't you?
I did see some films. We went and saw Coco, which was very, very good. And then Mel and I went and saw three billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, which is one of those really amazing heavy dramas that you only watch once.
It's an Oscar film.
It's an Oscar film. Frances McDormand will win an Oscar.
Nominated for Golden Globes. So.
Yeah, she's... Whew. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I saw Roman J. Israel today. It was all right.
Is that Denzel Washington?
Denzel Washington. And then I watched a whole bunch of short films that were nominated for...
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You have news.
I have
What's
news.
your news?
We, of course, our short film that was nominated for an Audience Choice Award for the 4 Points Film Challenge did not win the Audience Choice Award for the 4 Points Film Challenge. But that's okay, because we wound up winning the Best of Show, which is, I'm still kind of in that, really? I mean, this is an international film competition. This is a big deal. And we won? Okay, cool. But we took home the top prize. We also were the top award getter. We brought home a total of 5, including supporting actress, best child actor, best direction, and I got best writing.
Yay!
So, and of course, it's a team effort because there's all these things, a bunch of people hashing out stories. I just put the words on the paper, but we are just kind of
Cloud 9.
Yeah, cloud overblown at this point. Just like, really? But the film, so people keep asking me, so what happens now? And I was like, we won. That's kind of, I mean, yes, the film does.
Now it goes to Cannes, and you shop it out to filmmakers
the film
to
does get to air at the Cannes
producers.
Film Festival in France, as well as Filmapalooza in Paris, also in France.
Filmapalooza just sounds so
not as
second
impressive
rate
as Can.
though. Yeah, Filmapalooza. Oh, we get it.
Filmapalooza.
Filmapalooza.
How many times can we say Filmapalooza?
It's like WrestleMania.
Odd Duck Phil somewhere screaming at his radio. Say it! Say it! I'm not going to. But,
I will. Havakula! There you go, Phil.
You're welcome.
all right. And, so yeah, we're just kind of, I think I'm still numb. Hey, Dave's way more, I'm excited. Dave's way more excited than I am. He's really up there on Cloud 9. I don't think he's come down all day. So.
That's really, really
It is
awesome.
cool.
Good job. Thank all of you who watched it and said nice things about it. So,
What else? Anything else this week?
I think so.
Move on to news.
In news, pretty much all that happened is a new trailer came out for the Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time.
I haven't watched it yet.
Sure you have. I know you've watched it 17 times.
I've watched it once when you brought it up when we got here.
What'd you guys think?
It doesn't make me any more or less excited for the thing. I'm still. I mean,
it's a trailer.
It makes me a little bit more excited for it.
Did it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just
I
because
mean,
it's
I guess
closer,
maybe.
or-
Well,
I guess-
yeah, I think so.
For me, maybe because I've been top peak excited since David Bradley walked onto the very last episode that we saw, and so I've been at that level. So everything I see is just kind of sprinkles on top of the ice cream.
Is it here yet?
Yeah, I mean it's just so. It's I haven't ebbed in any way of my excitement for the Christmas special. So
Well, and it's nice to have trailers coming out for a Christmas special, and I don't lose excitement for it like I did last year.
That's true.
Sometimes, that can happen. I can see a trailer and go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Although
Which
last
happened
year I
every
wasn't
year
excited
last year.
from the beginning of the announcement.
Once again, I kind of fall into that. The podcast has spoiled me because with every little drib and drab of information that comes out, and we're exposed to it, and then I see the trailer, I should be super excited that Bill is in the trailer, but we knew Bill was coming back, so that
Right.
just the little things like that. It's he kind of.
I think
it's not ruining it, but it just kind of
Well, and it's such a quick trailer that we can't get any glimpse of any sort of plot or glean anything from it other than excitement and
which is
look, those
probably
are
good.
characters, which I'm grateful for.
I
don't want to know
I
plot.
am intrigued by the translucent beans that they showed.
Well,
us
and I like the
so.
look of the Vortex. Looks different than it has
does
recently.
kinda.
So
You mean the AI robots?
Yeah, this is kind of what they look like.
Yeah. Or aliens, depending on which subscription of the ending you subscribe to.
oh okay.
Yeah,
Which subscription of the ending
we know what you meant.
version?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, my excitement has not waned one bit. I am still stoked for Christmas.
Has it garthed?
Wow.
Sorry, folks, the joke don't get any better from here.
There's a joke for all you 90s kids.
And that's it in news.
That's it?
There were some pictures released from the episode too, but I haven't even looked at those.
You didn't
so.
put Matt on the...
We're not going to talk about how
Liz?
sexy Matt Smith is dressed?
Oh, Matt Smith was voted best dressed.
I don't know why. No, I'm just kidding.
Tweed and bow
He's a
tie. What do you expect?
He's a good-looking guy. He dresses well.
He's not even... He doesn't get credit for the tweed and bow tie, let's be honest.
Oh, I know.
If we're going to report it, let's be accurate about it. It's a GQ article.
Is it GQ that voted him best dressed?
I think it was GQ Readers. I'm pulling up the article now because I wasn't planning on talking about it.
Yeah, got it by surprise. You asked if we wanted to do it, and I said, yeah, sure, why not?
No, you didn't. You said we weren't going to talk about any costuming.
Any clothing?
That was a
clothing.
joke. That was a joke.
For fear of the culottes turning up.
I liked. I would agree with that. I've seen.
He is
I've seen
very
him
well dressed.
over the years.
I feel like he's taken a bit of a piece of Philip from The Crown, and because Philip dresses very sharply, and I feel like he's taken that into his own personal life a little bit.
As opposed to that weird leather jacket T-shirt ensemble we saw him in when he was first announced as the Doctor way back
Well,
then.
and or some of the Comic-Con outfits he's worn.
Yeah, the weird T-shirts. And
Yeah.
it's not quite Arthur Darvill's cat shirt, but
shirts.
shirts plural.
Yes. So Jeff Goldblum was number 3 on this
What?
list.
Really? Wow.
Are they including his...
this is GQ.
His...
by fashion experts. This is
Overlord outfit?
Oh, this was voted by fashion
experts.
Oh. So people smarter than me about that kind of thing.
Fellow Who star Andrew Garfield was number 5.
Oh. Well, very good.
And just because we all watch Game of Thrones, worst dressed, Kit Harington.
Kit's a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy.
Yeah.
I can't...
I have to agree.
Not too surprising.
So I guess that's where I would fall on that scale. It's down.
He dresses like me.
Down at the, no, we dress like Kit Harington. Yay!
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, there you
right.
go.
Yeah.
You have the same fashion sense
That's right.
as that guy. We didn't say it was good. We just said it was
Just
there.
said it was the same.
Is there any feedback this week, Keith?
No
No
feedback.
feedback. Holy cow.
Nobody loves
Not
Creature
quite.
from the Pit.
It's going to be a record short podcast here.
Oh, I can find more things to talk about.
Well, should we go on to our review?
Let's go on to our review.
Just fly right past that one.
The Creature from the Pit.
I'm going to stop offering.
Making a forced materialization on Chloris, the Dr. Romana and Canine become embroiled in the political machinations of its ruler, the
It's
lady,
not like I do it all the time.
Shh.
the
Keith's
Lady
reading.
Adrasta. The lush vegetation of the planet's surface hides a ragtag group of bandits, a giant eggshell, man-eating wolf weeds, and within the depths of an old mining pit, something very large has a terrible secret which threatens the destruction of Chloris itself.
I don't do it very often, but I do want to give this a dun dun dun. But I also don't want to give this a dun dun dun.
I'm going to give this a dun 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 for everything but the plot.
Here's the thing.
Well, maybe the production design.
Well, no.
We'll get into that later.
I like the plot.
I
think there are issues with the plot. Let's say this. I like the story. I think the story is good. I think there are elements of the plot that are clever. So clever that they're bad. In fact, I think this is bad science fiction is what this really is. That's what it boils down to, is this is just bad science fiction. But in a way that Douglas Adams... If Douglas Adams was doing bad science fiction, this would be bad science fiction. And Douglas Adams actually had a hand in this being bad science fiction. So
It definitely falls on the Adams scale of so bad it's good.
yes.
Because it's just goofy fun. But when you boil it down, she's got a monopoly of the metal, and she's got a creature in a pit. This is going to help her keep the monopoly on the metal. And then she has access to a TARDIS. She's going to take over all of time, all of space. Where do you want to go? And she goes, well, we're going to get some metal.
they are so hyper obsessed.
Yes, they really are.
Everybody is.
You are not thinking nearly big enough, lady.
Well, no. Here is the intelligence level of this society, and it's summed up by 2 lines. Standing over the pit, the doctor says, "What's that?" And she says, "We call it the pit." Later, Romana asks her about the monster in the pit, and she says, "What is that in the pit?" And she replies, "We call it the creature." Oh, that's
the naming.
That's the epitome of this society right here.
Well, and never mind what the actual creature looks like. She is the bad sci-fi aspect of this entire thing.
It's true. So true. Oh, she is the Seven Dwarf guys are the
No,
or the bandits, I suppose. The astrologer.
There's even a huntsman. I didn't make that correlation.
No, there is a
There's a
huntsman.
huntsman in
There's
this
an
as well.
evil queen and a huntsman.
and a thing on the wall.
And
It's
there
kind of
are
mirrorish.
7 dwarves.
Why didn't I pick up on this?
Yeah.
That may actually
And
add
Snow
a layer
White
to this
and
now.
Snow White in a pit.
I watched this
Oh
with
my
James,
gosh.
who shocked the monkey on Twitter, and he says, "So, what am I in for?" And I said, "Well, I don't want to get your hopes up too high. I'll just say that there's a creature and a pit. And he left. So then we get to that moment. We call it the pit. And he starts laughing. I said, yep, you've been introduced to one of them. Guess what's next? It's a pretty straight line to get there, too.
To be quite honest, I hadn't seen this one in a long time. And I don't mean since I was a kid, but a long time. Probably, late 90s.
I don't think I've seen it since it aired.
And I had honestly forgotten about a lot of it until I rewatched it on Saturday. And it's one of those ones, though, that as I watched it, it all just washed back. And I was like, oh, yeah, I totally remember all this. But over the years, I've confused parts of it with other Fourth Doctor stories. And so I kept thinking it was darker and scarier. And that's why I also kept thinking, it's a good Halloween one. We should put it on a Halloween. No, because I was confusing it with a couple of other ones. It's just goofy fun. It's really the dialogue in it. I think is the best, and I think obviously some of that's punched up by
the entire
Douglas
time.
Adams. Oh yeah, well he and what's the astrologer's name? Or Argonon.
Yeah,
those two together are wonderful.
How many moon jokes did you guys make during the egg scene?
Well, look, it's a moon.
What is it? It's the moon. People looked at me like, what? The moon is an egg, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah. See? No. I've never seen this before, but you will. We've talked a lot. First impressions, Keith.
I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I did have a fever while I watched it, so...
So you might have been delusional.
Not fully. Not a super high fever. It was only around 100.
In between bouts of retching, I found this to be quite enjoyable.
And the characters are so entertaining, even though they're so bad and so stupid and so single-minded. But they're written in such a way that they're so much fun to watch that you don't mind that they're bad and they're stupid.
That's just it. I mean,
it's the so bad it's good aspect of it to pretty much all of it.
It's just entertaining.
Yeah.
I may have to rail this back in just a little bit because you were sick. But we're watching it. And I looked at James and I said, I guarantee you, right at this moment, Keith's love of this was up here because canine. And canine don't take no crap off of no wolfweed. And then it crashed to the basement in the very next shot.
So all of the canine gets so much great stuff to do in it. Too bad he has laryngitis and doesn't sound like canine. It takes my enjoyment of canine out completely because it doesn't sound like canine at all.
Oh, I think he did a fine job.
Maybe we can get a special edition reissue. Maybe we can get John Leeson to just record all the canine dialogue for all of the missing John Leeson episodes and just lay in a new audio track.
I think David Brierly does not sound like...
doesn't sound like canine.
Canine, but I think he does an okay job. I mean... When you have to fill that role, you don't just get rid of the character. You say,
I guess I feel like I wish he would have tried to do an imitation more than trying to put his own stamp on it.
Well,
I don't even think he tried to do his own stamp. I think he just...
I think he thought he was doing an imitation, is what it sounds like. Because there are times it sounds like he tries to do it.
The short clipped words sounds decent.
Yeah, I'll give him the cadence.
They almost need to do some After Effects on his voice.
He's trying.
He was trying. It was just,
I don't mean this to be disrespectful to him. He's just not canine.
Yeah. Had it been John Leeson, this story would be so high in my list because canine is so great in this entire story.
Oh, he is. He's wonderful, and the voice doesn't take me out of it. It's a bit jarring for me at first because every time we pop back into is this season 16, 17, season 17. Every time we pop back into season 17, where we don't have John Leeson doing the voice. It does catch me off guard at first, but then I just kind of the voice is fine after I get used to it.
If he was canine from the beginning, I never would not have a problem with him at all. He's just a pale imitation of John Leeson.
Yeah,
he's a fine robot dog voice.
He's just not canine.
But just when he blasts the wolfwood and then immediately gets swarmed and cocooned and makes recorded tape noises, I thought, oh, Keith just fell apart.
Keith, what'd you think of the creature?
The creature.
In between bouts of retching, I kind of enjoyed it.
The creature actually didn't bother me at all. I was okay with it, and I kind of like the fact
We've conditioned you to enough Doctor Who now.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, look at that thing. That's huge.
I think that's what it comes down to.
That's a weird protuberance, but all right.
The weird protuberance I still have issue with,
but the idea behind the creature is, I think, rather clever, and so with that idea behind it, I don't see any other way they could have executed it either. To have it on the scale that it needed to be and be in a pit at the same time. And the whole idea behind it just wouldn't have worked. So I thought the creature was interesting. I like the fact that once it got the voice, that it didn't wind up being a hulking monster, that it actually had intellect, that it was more than what was on the DVD box for it. And then that he winds up kind of being a good guy through most of the story. The end is kind of, he winds up saving the day, but not necessarily freely, but he still does. So, I mean, compared to What's-Her-Face, he's a good guy. And I really like that aspect of it, turning what you'd expect to be the monster on its head.
Space Whale.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah.
From the technical aspect of it, I totally agree with you. It's just the beast is what it needs to be. I mean, for what it is, they do a fine job. I was really impressed with so much of the location shooting on this and the outdoor broadcast video that they used to actually shoot outside. Because all that stuff, it so easily could have been done in a studio, which they have done with those kind of like foresty and jungly type scenes. And they always look so bad. So I really appreciated the fact that they did a lot of scene video. Like the pit was obviously down in the pit, wasn't it?
You're saying it.
Oh, you could tell a video.
It was
tell a video difference.
Well, it was shot. It was shot on location.
Especially when they went back to the palace and everything.
It was shot at Television Centre, and it was shot at Shepherd's Bush, London. Shepherd's Bush, London was all the outdoor scenes.
I figured they just went to an arboretum or something, but I still figured it was a indoor.
No, it was all outdoors. The pit was outdoors. All of the stuff in the foresty stuff was all outdoors. Yeah.
See, and
when he's examining the egg at the beginning when they come out of the TARDIS, that's all outdoors. Yeah. I can tell from the quality of the video too. Yeah. It was obviously outdoor broadcast.
As much as I
it wasn't quite film, but it was. Shot
as much as I appreciated them going out and filming on location, the cheese factor almost would have been better had they done it on studio.
Well, actually,
because that would have added more to the bad it's good stuff.
I think what helps spoon feed the cheese to you is the fact that they don't. Because I think if it had gotten even more cheesy,
had it started off that way,
it might have. That might have changed a little bit. It might have been just almost over the top.
Too much cheese.
But
on a dish, can't be. But on who? Yeah,
would have been Underworld. With all of the
but obviously all the cave stuff and then the stuff in the palace, that's all inside, and the bandits encampment was all shot in studio.
Romana was another great part of the story.
She was
so good.
I've always liked Romana too, though.
She kind of overdoes it though when K9 gets webbed up. K9,
yeah,
K9,
She's holding her.
K9.
As James has said on more than one occasion with these, that even you got to give them props that they go there, that they get to that level of, by God, you're acting the hell off of this, aren't you? And it doesn't matter what it is. It's, you could be dressed in, what was that, what's the Patrick Troughton one where the old guys are wearing curtains? And
the Crotons.
The Crotons.
No, the Dominators.
Yes, they've got this. Is it Dominators?
The Dominators.
Yeah, they've got this whole council scene when they're just wearing curtains. But these are classically trained Shakespearean British actors, and they are going to perform for you today. And so you just go along with it because we just admire the fact that even though it was cheesy and goofy and a little over the top, but she was right there with it. Made me feel bad that K9 would have been cocooned. I bought it.
Well, it's nice that she had so much to do too.
Oh, she did.
Romana typically does get more to do than most companions because she is another Time Lord, but they utilize her well.
I think the bandits were funny too. I really kind of liked the fact that they had the one guy that was just the the metal guy. Was
My gold, our gold.
Yeah, just the little things like that. But it just, every time he'd take out a piece and he'd say exactly what it was. And such exquisite craftsmanship.
Yeah, just by looking at it. Look at this zinc. Really? You could tell just by looking at it.
It's bronze. This one's bronze. Anyway.
And I didn't quite get why they were threaded throughout the entire thing until they sieged the castle, did the theft, went down into the castle, into the caves, and I was like, oh, they're just here to deliver the voice box. That's their entire purpose of the story.
No, their purpose of the story is to show how important metal is to everybody on this planet. Well, at least in this area.
They could have done that with the initial kidnapping and then dropped those characters for the rest of the story, and it would not have impacted the story other than them delivering the piece.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think having them there to deliver the piece, you have to have that thread throughout too. You have to keep them coming back.
Yeah, it's also a very funny bit that the caveman Cro-Magnon dude who knows everything about every metal ever, and yet the woman with the monopoly and the mine cannot tell that K9 is not a tin dog. You're not really paying attention to the business aspects of this business, are you, lady?
It's true.
And they keep calling it tin dog.
And I like how he keeps standing up for himself too. I am not a tin dog.
Which now I'm upset that wasn't a line in School Reunion.
Yeah, Agreed.
It's like, why? Mickey, oh great, I'm in the car with the tin dog, and K9 should have laid into it. Maybe he's mellowed.
That's because this wasn't K9 and that was.
Yeah, see, the voice is right.
Yeah, that's totally it.
Although, that K9 hadn't gone through this adventure.
That's right. It would have been a different mark.
That's true.
So I doubt the memory banks would have been the same. So.
Yeah, I think the doctor takes a copy of each memory bank.
He still would have been, I am not a tin dog.
I'm not a tin dog.
Yeah.
Maybe he's mellowed in his old age, and he was just like, I'm not even going to reply now.
Yeah.
Maybe Mickey was beneath his correction. After all these people didn't listen to him anyways, this idiot's not going to listen to me either.
Point him toward the wall.
You're not even worth correcting.
I like how they carried him around so much since the ground, it was a great way to keep him in the story without having to try to keep up with him.
Although there is a lot of times that they're in locations where he does roll, and he rolls well. So I think that worked well.
And so just a side note, I don't know if anybody knows, do you think, because when they pick K9 up a lot in this one, is it the hero prop with the motor and everything that I imagine weighs a metric ton?
No.
Or is it just a shell maybe
have
they have constructed?
Did you watch Romana every time she picked it up?
She had
it was almost too light.
Which makes me wonder if they had a shell prop.
They had a second one.
Oh, I'm sure they had a shell prop. In fact, I looked at it occasionally.
I don't think it ever moved, did it? When they were holding it?
Not when they were holding it, no. I think one time the ears, his little ears did the satellite.
If they took the moving motor out and had the head motors, that would have been
but you got to remember at this point, this was the more lightweight, more conventional all-terrain K9 that they had refitted. So this isn't that first clunky big one that was real heavy. Yeah.
Well, the first one had a TV monitor in it too. So. That picture tube, I'm sure, weighed a ton.
Yes, but I have no idea. But
obviously,
the way that she was hefting it around, was clearly totally there was hardly any inner workings in it.
So now I wonder if the BBC was smart and fiscally responsible enough to build a second one, or if they actually removed the cuts from the first one.
I don't know how easy.
Yeah, I don't know.
They could have fixed a false bottom and just whoop, whoop.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wonder. Is maybe it's easy to lift that shell up off there. I don't know.
I can't imagine it would be easy to pull all the wiring and guts and.
Yeah.
Well,
don't think about it, Keith. I'm sorry.
It depends on if the moving mechanism, which would be the heaviest part, is tied into the head motors or the tail motor. If those are separate, it wouldn't be too hard.
Keep the dog facing the wall.
I don't mind that the creature was made of green trash bags.
Nope.
I as you said, it's the limitations of the time. It was sort of, even doing this story today, obviously the creature probably would have been some CGI monstrosity. It probably wouldn't have looked very good. So for what it is, for what it does, it's fine. I won't say they did a fine job with it, but I will say that it doesn't bother me.
I didn't even think it looked that much like trash bags.
Really?
No,
I
thought
saw
they did a decent
like
job.
like not like little ones.
It
like
doesn't.
big industrial.
It doesn't
long
look like trash
bags.
bags, but it looks like that trash bag material.
Green tarp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that kind of tarpish
more
looking.
than trash bag.
I don't know. It
Boy Scout tents.
gave a lot of years easier
Tense.
than.
Yeah, tense canvas more than anything else.
Well, not canvas, but that.
I think it was plastic.
Vinyl.
I mean, it obviously looked
Vinyl,
It looked plastic to me. It looked like plastic bags, but
Of course, I was watching this through a fever.
but
I think there were some design choices that maybe were a little poorly thought out in retrospect.
yes, I would agree.
This episode is fairly infamous for some of that.
One small.
We're going to tiptoe around it and not talk about it.
It is a family-friendly show.
That's right.
One small thing I really liked was, I don't know what it was supposed to be, but Adstra's makeup on the side of her face, the metal. I really like that design choice.
I don't know what it was supposed to be, but the metal.
Well, I guess it was metal, but was it supposed to be metal? I mean, it was.
That's the impression it gave me, is that it was
I
metal.
liked it, but
It was, I mean, it was clearly makeup, but it was.
Yeah.
I think it was
Flames
supposed to look like.
on the side of my face.
I think it was supposed to look like metal.
to show she's the monopoly in charge.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a nice touch.
It was a nice touch.
It makes you wonder if it's ceremonial, as the boss gets that, or
The costuming in this was good and appropriate. I thought the huntsman was a bizarre choice of look.
The
but,
wolf weeds were a little weird.
the wolf weeds were okay. They reminded me of tumbleweeds.
They remind me of tumbleweeds in your short film, Sean. And
His tumbleweed that wasn't actually
It
a
reminded me of
tumbleweed.
Meglos.
these rolled a little bit better.
Yo, they were way better.
They also reminded me of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was just such a that's another part of it, is just the so bad it's good aspect of it, that's what you came up with. Okay, I mean it's a planet.
Well, and then to name
At least
them
you didn't try to do a
wolfweeds.
crinoid again. I mean,
To actually name them wolfweeds. All right.
Tom Baker gets a lot of physicality in this too. There's a lot of getting run over by wolf weeds and getting run over by the creature, and
bursting through the door,
jumping down the well. Although I looked on this when they, how they recap the cliffhanger at the end. I looked really close, and it looked like maybe it was a body double that jumped down that well. It grabs the thing.
No.
Which is funny because in the
Tom does all his own stunts.
on the finale of the first story or the first episode, he jumps down and that rope goes, and then when they come back, they see him jump down, and you see the rope barely go, and then they cut to him hanging on the side, and he's barely down in the mouth of the thing, and I thought, that was really bad. It made it look like he went way down that well, and then he's like near enough that Romana can look down there and see him.
But he did use his scarf as a rope too, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Briefly.
So I got the impression after seeing that the rope itself just kept going, and he used the scarf
And he had the book to
weigh it down.
Well, he had the book
Oh yeah.
that was how to climb Mount Everest.
Yes.
And then he finds out it's in Tibetan, so he has to get the book to translate to Tibetan.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because in Planet of Spiders, we know he knows Tibetan because he talks to the monk. Or not the monk, but the other guy.
Is it Tibetan or is it Cantonese?
Although he knows,
I don't know.
he knows Pablo Sanzavoth too. So
That's true.
Yeah, but how much of that was the TARDIS translating?
Well,
for
the
him?
TARDIS was nearby. It can translate
Yeah, it's
books.
true.
Too.
It should have.
No, that's nitpicky. That was all for the sake of the joke.
Yeah.
That was very Douglas Adams.
It was.
Yeah, it was very Douglas Adams.
It's in Tibetan.
So David Fisher, the writer of this one, has a pretty decent track record because he did Stones of Blood
I like that one.
and Androids of Tara from the Key to Time series.
Androids was at the end.
It was the next one after Stones, where they're doing what was it, not Pirates of Penzance, but Romana wears the purple outfit and everybody's got a duplicate. It's very.
Oh, okay.
What is the famous story that one's kind of lightly based on?
What was? I'm sorry.
Androids of Tara is. It's not Pirates of Penzance, but it's
Prisoner of Zenda.
Prisoner of Zenda. Thank you.
Oh yes, yeah.
one of the P's. I knew it was in there somewhere. So he did those two, and then he did this one, and then apparently had to leave midway through due to a death in the family, and couldn't complete City of Death, which is where Douglas came in and kind of wrote it. So
he also did The Leisure Hive.
Oh, did he do? I guess I missed that one.
According to TARDIS Wiki.
Okay, well then he also did The Leisure Hive. So, 4.5 out of 5 are pretty decent.
Yeah.
Of his stories. I don't know that this one needed to be 4 parts. I felt like we got to part 3, and we've raided the castle, we've got the creature to talk, we've revealed the bad guy, and within the first 2 minutes of episode 4, we've kind of wrapped all of that up.
We dispatched with her so quickly, and then even then, they saved everything with 10 minutes to spare.
But then,
I guess no, there was like 12 minutes or so left. When I looked, I was like, "What are they going to do with the rest of this before they went to space to save
the whole 4th part is, oh, by the way,
yeah,
we're going to nuke the planet." What?
The worst thing you can do too when you do an episodic show like this is have a cliffhanger where the villain is in peril.
Yeah.
I watched that and I thought, that's not a cliffhanger. That's a yay, the Queen's dead. I mean,
the end. I guess I won't watch next week.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was so weird, but but then to get to part 4 and realize that we've got one other problem.
Which I don't mind that all of a sudden the stakes jumped up extremely high, and that we've got to go save the planet, and we do so in a very cool way. The fact that I like the fact that the creature weaves another egg around a sun this time. So we've got a moon,
so that the
and
Doctor can lock onto it with the TARDIS tractor beam.
Well, he did that first.
Pull it out of the way. But, that's right. He had to hold it.
He had to hold it so that Aragog, whatever his name is, can
Aragog
can weave. But okay, I'll buy that. But at the same time, it's like none of this really matters at this point. None of this really matters. What's the worst can happen? You blow up this planet full of idiots. Okay. The metal guy's dead, so
we just lose the astrologer.
The astrologer's the only person I care about, and I kind of like the huntsman at the end.
That being said, though, they make, I can't remember exactly what is said, but they make a comment as that this is only one small region of the planet. There's a whole rest of the planet.
Yeah. But this is like the highest level of the planet, wasn't it?
Nope. Oh. Because it's something to the fact of that this is just one region governed by this lady.
Oh yeah.
She's not even in charge of the planet, but she's in charge of the area.
She wasn't even in charge of the planet.
No,
she gets hold of the TARDIS, and the best thing she can come up with is more metal.
More metal.
Wow, she's dropping on my
wrist. Yeah, no, there's a line dropped, and I can't remember exactly how it is, but she's like a regional governess, I suppose, of this area.
Well, it makes sense in a way, because I guess, you're hoarding all this metal. It's like, well, then what do? There's got to be a market somewhere that you take the metal to and trade it in on.
Right. Because you don't get the impression that they're going off planet much, because they're very backwoods. No. Although I do the concept of the fact that there's this race out there that sends an ambassador because they've got more vegetation than they can do anything with, and these guys can
all this
basically make metal and give. It's like a great broker, but.
She was stupid and screwed it up. All for greed.
Well, as the second in command of the cavemen said, what happens to our metal when all of a sudden there's metal everywhere? Don't worry about that. No.
Which is funny because...
Supply and demand.
Yeah, the one guy gets it.
Yeah.
But he's overruled by the other guy going, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. No, worry about that.
I think the story might have worked a little bit better if instead of metal, it was something that they needed to survive. Like if it was some sort of nutrient of some sort, and she was using that to keep the people subjugated and only let so much out, and this alien wanted or needed to trade the plant life for this food or whatever. It almost would have worked a little bit better as a story, I think.
Don't fix it.
Maybe we just didn't see enough of
the rest of the
planet, because, as the doctor says, you need the metal to make tools to clear the jungle.
To advance society.
In order to advance the society, and they couldn't. Everything had been choked off by this plant life. But
I forgot about that.
Because we're in this isolated area that's already been choked off by the plant life, this guy, oh wow, look, a pot. Who cares? A goblet. And? I don't get it. Why do you... I don't get the impression that there's, at least not where they were at, there was no smelting. They weren't going to... Maybe with a hammer, he was going to hammer something out and make a sharpened edge out
I kept thinking at one point that the head, quote-unquote, bandit was going to say something about, well, it doesn't matter, we'll melt it all down anyway. They never said that.
No,
it was almost like it was just going to have set on a shelf somewhere. That was odd.
Yeah, he just wanted it for the sake of being shiny.
That's what it comes across as.
What else about this story, guys? Anything
we
else?
haven't touched too much on Organon. Glenn's favorite part.
So funny.
Orgon, the soothsayer.
The astrologer.
The astrologer.
If you do it with flair, puts his hands up.
Goes over very well. I guess he's the one that makes the comment about it being at other courts.
Yeah, he gives.
Yes,
he's
that's
been all
that's
across
where
the
that
world.
and that's why I remembered. Maybe that's why I picked it out, because every time he was on the screen, I loved him. I was like, oh my gosh,
he is such a great character. And
this he and Tom play off each other so well too.
The actor. Do you have the actor's name pulled up for Oregon?
It is Jeffrey Baildon.
Jeffrey was apparently offered the role of the First Doctor.
Oh, is that right?
When the show started. And I thought that was very fascinating, because the more I listened to him talk, the more I heard Hartnell's cadence. He's very First Doctor in the way that he speaks, and he's got the little the kind of.
I did think that while watching it.
It's really kind of eerie to watch it with that foreknowledge, because that's all I could see now, and it was like that. He would have been quite good.
He is a doctor.
And yes,
in Unbound stories.
Oh,
All
is he?
Mortality and A Storm of Angels.
So now I'm really excited
cool.
to get into those, because I thought he was. I mean, he's an exceptional character anyway, but just the way that he.
Well, he was also considered for the Second Doctor.
Yeah. Poor guy. It's never always a bridesmaid for bride.
Oh, he was in Horror of Dracula, the Hammer film. I'll be darned.
And Casino Royale.
The Woody Allen?
Yeah, likely. Because they're going, I think they're going here in order, and it's way back early, so.
Way early?
Yeah, well, back during Z-Cars and Canterbury Tales and Adventures of Black Beauty. Yeah. Pink Panther Strikes Again. Well, he's got quite a resume here.
He's been around for, well, I don't want to say he's been around forever, but he's been around forever.
I'll be darned.
But
he came back for Full Circle. And Harrow or Fang Rock? That can't be right.
Who was he in Horror of Fang Rock? I didn't see that.
Huh.
It's probably the voice of the Rutan or something.
This doesn't say.
But he is such a great character, and the chemistry that he and Tom have. Every scene between the two of them is absolute gold. And you find yourself wondering.
Passed just this last year.
Oh,
May 10th of 2017. I'll be darned.
Oh, he wasn't in Horror of Fang Rock. That was a different page.
You find yourself wondering who's going to one-up the next one. Because...
Oh, yeah.
Tom's got a very set kind of shtick at this point that you can expect. And then here comes this guy that's bouncing off the walls and doing his thing. And so Doctor's adding his little one-upmanship almost. But then you never know who's going to get the last word in these exchanges the way they're going. And it's so very entertaining. And I felt so bad for him when he got conked on the head.
At the end, yeah. Just before. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Anything else you guys want to say about this one?
I don't think so.
I think it's
just good fun.
I think it's good fun. I think it's very unfair that fandom tends to once again, we don't talk about that when it's horrible, blah 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 blah. Because I suppose if the Doctor Who police were to come out and say this is acceptable Who and this isn't, well, then you're going to have to arrest me because I enjoy this one. And I don't remember much of it. I remember being not really impressed with it. And I also remember as a kid being kind of scared of the wolfweed. I don't know why. All these later era Tom monsters apparently scared the bejesus out of me as a kid. The mandrills and the wolfweeds and all these things. And now going back and watching them, it's like, no, that wasn't quite so bad. I was terrified.
I'll tell you what I do remember about this one. I do remember turning across this on a Saturday, which wasn't the normal day the Doctor Who was on, because I think I used to watch Doctor Who at a certain time, like 6 o'clock during the week. Mm-hmm. And then on Saturday, every once in a while, they would just play episodes. And I remember turning across PBS, and I hadn't seen this yet. And I remember the very first thing that I saw, and it must have been after the credits even ran, I cut there, was that very first scene where they throw the first guy in the pit. And I remember looking at that, go, what is this? This is weird. And then the Doctor showing up and going, this is a Doctor Who episode. I mean, I remember it quite surprising me because that was such a horrific scene where they take this guy out into the forest and they hurl him in a pit and something attacks him. And I remember thinking, wow, what is this? And then the Doctor and Romana come out of the TARDIS, and I remember going, wow, this is Doctor Who. And of course, then it all gets goofy after that. But
well, unless you're an engineer.
So that was the only thing that really scared me about this when I was a kid. But not even scared me. It was just more of I don't know that I want to watch this. Oh, wait, there's the Doctor. I do want to watch this. All right, Sean.
He's just published the definitive paper. Oh, what does he think it is?
All right, Sean, what do you got coming up on the schedule?
Well, coming up on the schedule, we are going to return to the Third Doctor era for our Friday Night Who offering next week, or later this week. And we're going to watch Curse of Peladon. So speaking of monsters in pits.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like I planned it.
Almost.
It's not.
We know the truth.
We know the truth. And then, of course, there's method for the mayhem on that, but we'll get into that later. And then if you're following along at home and wish to do homework for next week's show, we are reviewing The Flaming Soldier novella from the Brigverse over by our friends at Candy Jar Books. That's kind of Brigverse adjacent, I guess maybe is the best way to say it.
It's a spin-off.
It's a spin-off of the Brigverse. And so we will be reviewing that next week.
And Christmas is coming soon.
Christmas is
Very
coming soon.
Yay. All right. Well, if you can support us, please do so. You can find a button on our website, travelingthevortex.com. That'll take you to Patreon, and every bit of that helps. And thank you for those of you who already support us.
Yes.
Keith, you want to mention our feedback?
Yeah, you can reach out to us and send us feedback by going to our website while you're there donating. Just click on the Send Us Feedback tab. Or you can send it directly to feedback@travelingthevortex.com or reach out to us on any form of social media.
Excellent. Anything else we need to cover before we close this one, fellas?
But always love to hear from you, so please do so.
Yes,
All right.
please.
If that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.